Hey guys, Richard here with Downgrid Survival. I want to talk to you about conspiracy theories for a moment. I recently had a conversation with a family member, someone whom I love, appreciate, respect very much. And the idea of conspiracy theories came up. And neither one of us want to travel the road of conspiracy theories, okay? We just kind of stay away from that. But it really got me thinking of whether or not that's the direction this channel has been headed in recently. And so here's some thoughts on that. I think there's a fine line between a conspiracy theorist and a realist. And I'll talk about that for a moment. You know, when I think conspiracy theory, I think a little bit about, especially within the prepping community, I think a little about you know, back in the 60s, 70s time frame where doomsday prepping was really big. And, you know, that was the terminology they used back then, was doomsday prepper. And it really had a negative vibe among most people because they were looked at as, you know, for lack of a better word, a little crazy. I mean, who would need a bomb shelter in their backyard, right? You know, why would someone need to stockpile food and other supplies in fear of, you know, a nuclear war or something of that nature? And so the idea of doomsday prepping was really frowned upon, was looked down upon. But yet here we are 40, 50 years later now, and the idea of prepping is growing leaps and bounds every day. With everything that we've been through the last couple of years, there's just a lot of people that have turned to prepping, and it's no longer, you know, frowned upon by most people. So, getting to the conspiracy theorist part, and the fact that there's a thin line between the two. Part of being a prepper is, you know, preparing for what might come or what might happen. And so when you're thinking about what might happen, you gotta lean forward a little bit, right? You gotta look to the future a little bit and consider, what is it that I need to plan for? What do I need to prepare? You know, I know times are bad. I know times will probably get worse, but, you know, what's that look like and what do I need to do? So as you start looking down the road a little bit, leaning forward, trying to, you know, determine this, you a little bit become a conspiracy theorist, because you got to let your mind wander a little bit and to come up with thoughts and ideas about what could happen in the future and how you need to prepare for it. So, but a person can take that, in my opinion, a person can take that way too far. Okay, this is where you can have some really, for lack of a better term, eccentric personalities, or maybe just people that, I don't want to get banned by YouTube, but people that just simply take it too far. Okay, you know the words I'm looking for. People who are talking about the zombie apocalypse, you know, and I don't believe in zombies. You know, I don't think that's a thing. People who think that you know, UFOs are going to invade the Earth and take over the planet, and we're going to have all these creatures or whatever. You know, probably not. I'm not going in that direction. That's just not something I think is going to happen. Do I think that there's life out there beside us here on this planet? Yeah, probably. There's probably some form of life, and if you're a religious person, you've probably been taught that there's other worlds and other things out there, but we're not going to get into that here. But just the idea that conspiracy theory is something that I think we all need to do a little bit, which is just lean forward and consider the possibilities without just going crazy with it. I hope you understand what I'm trying to get at. Yeah. So on this channel, I try not to do that. I try to keep it real. I try to keep it fresh. try to keep it attainable as far as, you know, the type of preps and things that we need to be doing. I try not to go down the road of all the what ifs. Now, if you consider everything that's happened in the last couple of years, there's a lot of things that's been going on recently that a lot of folks would have thought it was conspiracy theory just a short few years ago, you know, even 5 or 10 years ago. And yet, a lot of those things have come about today. And so they're not conspiracy theories. You know, the idea of a pandemic wiping out half the planet is not a conspiracy theory. We had a pandemic, and it took out, you know, some people, but it could have been worse. It could have been something extremely contagious, extremely deadly that really just decimated our planet. You know, the whole idea of a food crisis, a food shortage, where people would be starving was just not something that we would think about. And a few years ago, we'd probably just laugh at and think, oh, that's just conspiracy theory, right? But in reality today, we see some of those food shortages. You know, we're experiencing it because of supply chain. We're going to be experiencing it more so this fall and next year. You know, will people be starving? Probably not here in the free world, but in many places around the planet, yeah, I think there are going to be a lot of people that will be starving because they really rely on wheat and things that come from Ukraine and Russia, and it's just not going to be there for them. So, I guess the point of this video is simply that I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist, and I hope you don't see me that way, but I am a realist, and I do look at the information that is available to me today, that I can easily research and find, and I get news and information from many different sources, and then I start connecting the dots, and then I look to our recent history at the things that have been happening, and to me that paints a picture. And those are the kind of things that I talk about here on this channel. And so, you know, it's very real, and you know, we do some what if scenarios on this channel, but it really is something that is very possible. And I think we've all started to come to realize that based on all that we've experienced. You know, who would have thought that the government would break down to the point that it did, where local governments would release criminals into the streets, fail to prosecute criminals, praise and look the other way when people start rioting and burning down half the city and small towns, and where the very idea that there's policy being pushed to allow women to have abortions after birth. It's not even such a thing, but they want women to have the right to choose even after birth whether or not they're going to keep that baby. You know, there's just so many things right now that are going on around us, and it's not being talked about in mainstream media, but it's ugly. And these are not conspiracy theories. These are things that are happening. These are things that are being reported on in various news outlets. Yeah. So, conspiracy theory or not, I see myself as a realist looking at the world around me and how it's falling apart, and that's the information I'm going to share on this channel, and that's what this channel is all about, to try to help you and your family prepare and be ready for whatever happens next. So that's it for this video. Let me know in the comment section what you think. You know, are you a conspiracy theorist? Do you think my channel has been leaning in that direction? Do I need to pull back a little bit? Just share whatever comments and thoughts you have down below. I'd appreciate it. I will read them, and I will answer any questions that you have. Thanks for watching.